everybody, welcome to the Truth Seekers channel.
Hey!
Today I have a special guest, one of my favorite guests of all time.
Thank you very much.
Chris from ThePatchUniverse.
Chris from ThePatchUniverse.
You should check out his channel. My channel is about finding the truths. Alright. And for doing that, we are having a discussion about Greek mythology, ancient history. And the subject will be Hades and Persephone.
Yeah, I really liked actually that legend because when I was a teenager I used to read a lot of Greek mythology and I was really passionate about mythology. My favorite god actually in the Greek mythology was Hades.
Oh really?
Yeah, because you have this all these different really important gods. You have like Zeus, obviously, who is the
king of all gods.
The king of all gods, and
Poseidon.
Poseidon. The god of the oceans and the seas, and then you have Hades, the god of the kingdom of the dead, and so you have the whole kingdom actually with subdivisions and stuff like that, and I found that really interesting, and it's actually the richest of the gods, because he had a lot of diamonds and stuff like that in his kingdom.
The underworld.
Yeah, and in the underworld. I remember when I was reading the story of actually when he had abducted Persephone, and he starts to actually marry her and all the story. I really liked it.
You liked the abduction part, or what?
Well, I like the whole story because you abduct her and then she goes to the kingdom and she stays there and he's trying to convince her to stay, and what happens at the end and everything, and actually because it's one of the only stories that I can recall where Hades has really something to do. The rest of the time, he's the god of the dead. That's it. The underworld.
I'm on the Greek tour at the moment. I did a video about Prometheus. My last video is on Zeus. You should watch that one. Really good. And the other one before that was about Hercules.
Yeah.
12 Labors of Hercules. So to continue my Greek tour, where else is better to end up than in the underworld?
Exactly. If you could actually travel there, would you have a tour or something like that?
No. Yeah, Hades and Persephone. Yeah, before we got a call from Chris, like, hey, let's do a movie together. I saw you're doing all kind of Greek mythology stuff, so let's do Hades and Persephone. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah.
Persephone is actually the niece of Hades.
She is the daughter of Zeus, so he kidnapped her with permission of Zeus, or he gave the advice to Hades. She just kidnap her because her mother will not. Her mother is Demeter.
Yeah.
Will not allow her to go to the underworld.
Yeah.
She will not have her daughter get married to this underworld figure. This beast. It's Hades, hideous monster. It's like Beauty of the Beast story.
Yeah, exactly.
Cannot blame Demeter for not wanting her to marry Hades. Something like this is not really nice stories. You can see here what he did to her in this feminist culture where we want equality for men and women. I don't think this fits in our modern society anymore, and personally I think they should take away these stories and delete it from history.
I don't think they should. Because that's part of our history. People viewed actually deities and religion in the past, actually what they thought was okay or not, So I think they should keep the stories. That doesn't mean we have to agree with the thing they did, The thing is, when you look at the Greek mythology in general, a lot of things that happened and that the gods did were really bad. For example, like Zeus, they had
yeah, but we learned at school that these guys were good guys.
The
gods, they did good things, but when you read the real story, you see it's like these were not good people.
Yeah, but you just have to present them as, I don't know, there are lots of things that gods did to humans and stuff like that, to other gods. And the story of the way I read the story about Hades is actually he abducted. That's funny because there are many ways to tell the same stories. He abducted Persephone, and then they went to palace of Hades, and actually Hades was trying to convince her to stay with him. But it was just the interpretation of the story. And then I remember reading the story. She said, yeah, it said, yeah, but she started thinking that Hades was making a lot of effort to make her stay, and he was trying to feed her. But if
you feed her in the underworld, you cannot leave the underworld.
Exactly. So that's the thing, you know. She wanted to have the something from Earth, and that was in the middle of the winter, you know. And so there is Hermes, you know. I think Hermes, right? Messenger of the gods, all around Earth to find something. The only thing he could find was a pomegranate, you know.
Pomegranate seed. Yeah, that was it.
And he brought the pomegranate, and she ate a bit of it. But then she stopped because she had to stay. But she ate 6 seed. And because of that, there was an arrangement that she has to stay 6 months in the underworld. And the 6th of the month, she can go back to her mother, Demeter. And actually the 6 months where she is in the underworld, because they are like Demeter and Persephone, they are the goddesses of Earth and, you know, agriculture and so, all those things. So in those 6 months, like autumn and winter.
It was actually not Persephone. She got the title, but it was her mother, Demeter.
Yeah,
was the real goddess. Because when Persephone went to the underworld, Demeter got sad, and all the plants stopped growing, and all these fruits stopped. Something to eat from Earth. It was like to trick Hades to get her back to Earth. She was like working together with her mother.
I find it interesting how the people use mythology to explain actually what's going on with Earth. For example, we have winter. We are now in the middle of the winter. It's really cold. So right now we think, okay, because Earth is turning round, and you know, yeah, you have the sun. I mean,
yeah, it's like somebody asked their father, "Hey, Papa, how does winter come?" He's like, "Okay, I'll tell you the story about how winter came to be." Yeah, there was this god, and he married this woman, and then this woman got sad, and then suddenly the mother started weeping, and everything died and got cold, and that's how you got winter.
Exactly. So I'm trying to actually make a comparison of what we have right now. If you know, I'm gonna give you something. You can give things to people because you're nice, but you can also give things to people so that they have to give something back, or so that they have, you know, they are dependent on you.
Dependent, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a way to control people. I find that interesting that actually Hades was trying to control her by giving her food, you know.
The pomegranate seed was actually like drugs, I think.
Yeah.
So this was the Ancient Greek Mythology love story about the bad guy Hades, who abducted Persephone because he saw her picking flowers in the garden. So according to the mythology, Hades, god of the underworld, fell in love with beautiful Persephone when he saw her picking flowers one day in a meadow. The god then carried her off in his chariot to live with him in the dark underworld. It's very nice how they put it here. He carried her off. But he kidnapped her and then did awful stuff with her and forced her to live in the underworld.
Why was Hades seen as bad and evil? Hades is seen as evil for many reasons that I will go through in my answer. Oh, heads up, this is going to most likely be long. He hardly ever showed his face up on the surface of the world because this was not his domain, and spent his life secluded. Many people also forgot that he was the god of wealth and riches. Yeah, and therefore when it came to praying and giving sacrifices, he never got any and was just forgotten. Yeah, it's not very nice. You know, like, I would not be nice if people kept forgetting me, you know. We are talking about why.
Maybe he was lonely and he fell in love. And he was, hey,
this probably
the daughter of my brother. I will ask my brother, can I marry her? He said, yeah, sure. Maybe it's Zeus' fault.
Yeah, it's not just that. Like when the way he punished people. You know, like Zeus was not a nice person either.
Poseidon also not. He was seen as the worst god.
Yeah, actually, he tried to overthrow his brother. He tried to overthrow Zeus. You know, you read the story about what's his name, the Titan who gave fire to the
Prometheus.
Yeah, I mean, is it nice to tie somebody to a rock and make an eagle eats his liver every day?
No, that's
and
not
then
nice.
The liver goes back and
generated. Yeah,
it's not like for all eternity.
It was like for 30,000 years. Where were you? Dead people can't eat.
He stole his wife. That's in today's society heavily frowned upon. No shit. Sorry. Yeah, whoa. Like, oh man, I'm gonna abduct a woman. That's fine, man. Well done. It's like,
see, I'm not the only one with it.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, I just, yeah. No shit. It is not appreciated when people kidnap people, you know.
No.
It's not a good thing to do, but that's Greek mythology. You know, food from the underworld is unique. Like we talk about food from the underworld, he was trying to give. Food from the underworld is unique. If you eat the food, then you may never leave. Persephone had one single tiny seed of a pomegranate, was then trapped for the rest of her life. Of course, her mother Demeter was not at all happy and compromised. Persephone would be allowed to see the surface every springtime, since that was Persephone's purpose as a goddess. It was only fair she was allowed to carry out her duties. Yeah, exactly, that's fair. At least he's fair, you know, at least, you know. Once again, relating back to the question, him as bad and evil, because who in their right mind would steal someone and force them to marry them?
Persephone, aka Kori, was the Greek goddess of vegetation, especially grain, and the wife of Hades, with whom she rules the underworld, an important element of the Elysian mysteries and the Thesmophoria festival. The goddess was worshipped throughout the Greek world and frequently appeared in all forms of Greek art. Vegetation, she and her mother were both goddess of vegetation
and grain.
Demeter searched the earth for her lost daughter and thought, as though Helios or Hermes told her daughter's fate, she nevertheless continued her wandering until she finally arrived at Eleusis, disguised as an old woman that the goddess cared for, Demophon.
Yeah, should we? I want to see a bit further, like.
She could have been released from Hades if she had not eaten anything in the underworld during her captivity. But at the last moment, Hades gave her a pomegranate seed.
Yeah.
Then she could not escape. But by seeing that she wanted to escape, if you are having a good time and a fun time in the underworld and having a ball, why would you want to escape?
Exactly.
You only want to escape if you are not having a good time, if you don't like it, or if you are captured. Exactly. Then you use the word to escape.
Exactly. Significance of the myth. The story of Demeter and Persephone was perhaps symbolic of the changing seasons and the perennial change from life to death, to life once more. Because actually when you think about it, winter is like death of vegetation, grey and stuff like that. You know, and it's cold, it's not nice, you don't want to go outside. Whereas spring and summer, they are like life, you know. Or in other world, the changes from summer to winter and the return of life in spring are seen as in agriculture. The cycle became one of the rituals and of the sacred,
Eleusinian
mysteries. Indeed, the symbols of the cult were ears of grains and a torch, reminding of Demeter's search for Persephone, and that the rituals, thank you, were carried out at night. As all initiates were bound by sacred oaths not to reveal the detail of the mysteries, they have to this day remained just that, a mystery. Another interpretation of the Persephone myth may be that it represents when the Greek stored the grain in the ground for part of the year in order to protect it from summer heat. Interesting. In favor of this argument is that in Greece, climate seeds are sown in the autumn and quickly germinate to grow throughout the winter time. Therefore, Persephone's time in Hades would not equate with winter in the agricultural season, but rather with summer. The first time I heard that. Whatever the exact significance, the association between Persephone and agriculture is firmly established in rituals, literatures, and ancient art. Finally, the myth of Hades, abduction, may also
reference the Greek practice of girls marrying in their early teens, a loss to their mothers as Persephone was to Demeter.
Yeah, because that was something they did a lot at that time, but again, it's like...
it was normal in that culture at that time.
Yeah.
So it was not seen as a crime in those days. So Hades was not evil.
Well, he was actually, but just not according to their standard. But that's actually the only story of Hades. Like you can find Zeus, you have many more stories. There was a story when actually he had a relation with a woman on Earth, a human, and the wife of Zeus was really jealous, and she transformed the woman into a horse who had to go through the whole of Greek running. Things like that, you know. So there are a lot of really interesting myths of things that they did to a human being or other gods and titans and stuff like that.
Persephone is as a vegetation goddess, and her mother were the central figures of the Eleusinian mysteries, were initiations held every year for the cult of Demeter and Persephone, based at the Pan-Hellenic sanctuary of Ulysses in ancient Greece. Ulysses. They are the most famous of the secret religious rites of ancient Greece. These are cults and ancient rituals, and they're still performing them. Elysium, that is the underworld. Elysium or Elysian fields is a conception of the afterlife that developed over time and was maintained by some Greek religious and philosophical sects and cults. So these sects and these cults, they love the underworld and these concepts of afterlife.
Yeah.
Why is Hades seen as bad and evil? We answered that question. Hades and Persephone, the beginning of the myth. The myth says that Persephone was very unhappy, but after much time she came to love cold-blooded Hades and lived happily with him.
Yeah.
Reminds me of us humans also, from the Neanderthal times when we were like living in caves. When we want a woman, we just grab her by the hair and pull her in our cave, you know. Our natural ancient instincts.
Exactly.
We call it the ur-instinct in Dutch. The animal instinct in us to grab the woman and take her.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. Thank you for watching.
Have a good
Check
day.
out Chris's channel. And see you next time.
See you next time.